Friday agency call, the Senior Solutions agency call. I'm your host, Joe Johnson, along here with Jimmy Hernandez down in San Antonio, Texas. We got a great call lined up for you. We got some special guest speakers. We're going to be covering a success story of a new agent we just recently hired that came on, who's having great success right out of the gates. So we'll make sure you stick around towards the end to catch all the action and the great updates that we have for you. Just a couple of before we kick off, just a couple of real quick housekeeping, some sales announcements, and then, like I said, Jimmy and I have some kind of basic tips we're going to get into and talk about before we get into the sales training. But really looking forward to the success story. You know, at the end of the day, our success here at Senior Solutions is built around the successes of our agents. So we always love sharing success stories. I think it's something we probably need to do a little bit more of. So we're certainly trying to do a better job. If you're a brand new agent, or if you need to reorder supplies, make sure you contact me to get your new agent starter kit. These are all the things that you're going to get with your starter kit, so you can go out and make a great presentation, make a very good impression with your clients. And we've got some great training as far as doing that. Also, Founders Month, Security National, one of our carriers that we do, starting to do a lot more business with, but this is their biggest contest of the year. Cash money. You can win, you know, anywhere from a couple hundred to thousands of dollars. I know Adam, our rep from Security National, he said last year he handed out, I think the biggest check he handed out was like 12 grand, 12 or 13,000, and that's in a 1 month period. So that'd be a pretty nice bonus to get for 1 month. So there are details. There's a link that you can check out the official rules. But if you're interested, if you don't have Security National, if you're interested in getting contracted, get with myself or Jimmy or your upline manager. We can get you a contract. If you are contracted with Security National, this is definitely a time that you maybe want to steer a little bit more business between now and October the 22nd. Steer a little bit of business towards Security National. And also want to say I want a big thank you to everybody that donated to the fundraiser that I'm doing for the American Diabetes Association. Certainly appreciate that. The event that I'm doing, the 30-mile ride, is actually this weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and resend the link out. So if you didn't donate, maybe you'd like to, or maybe you weren't on the last call that I did, certainly an opportunity to go ahead and do that. So I'll send out the link on that. And again, that's to raise money. It's 100% goes to, there's a link that connects you directly to a fundraiser page for the American Diabetes Association. I think so far I've raised like a little bit over $1,900. So man, if I could get that over $2 grand, that would certainly be awesome. So I'll send that out a little bit later today. And if you can, throw a few bucks in there, maybe 10, 20 bucks, maybe help me get over the $2,000 mark as far as being raised. So with that, and before we bring on our special guest speakers, we're just going to cover some sales tips. And this is really, the sales tips that we're going to be covering are going to be based on some coaching that I did over this last week, not concerns, but some areas that agents were asking me questions on. And I was thinking to myself, man, that'd be a great topic for this week's call. And if you're checking us out for the first time, or maybe you know, obviously this is a live webinar, this is a live call. We've got a lot of people on the call. Maybe you stumbled across this video on YouTube. Man, please subscribe to our channel. Jimmy and I put out brand new content almost every single week. We get it onto our YouTube channel. So if you're checking it out, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification so you get a notification about the new content that we put out every single week. But we try to keep things fresh. We try to keep things real here at Senior Solutions. And give you all the knowledge and the things that you're going to need to be able to go out and be successful in your insurance career. So with that, okay, so a couple of things, Jimmy, that we wanted to cover. One was, it came up this week, at least one, maybe two agents were asking me about, they're working different types of leads. They're working the digital leads, they're working direct mail leads. One of the questions that came up was, how many times should I call my lead? When is a lead exhausted, I guess is kind of the point. Well, Jimmy and I are going to give you some tips on this. One is, as far as, I'm going to give you 2 points on how often you should call them. The first tip is that you should be what we call triple tapping or triple dialing your leads. That is, when you have a brand new lead and you have a phone number, whether it's, regardless of where the lead came from, it could be a direct mail lead, it could be an internet lead, it could be a even an aged lead from the aged lead store. It could be a cold call. I don't care. If you've got a number to dial, one of the big secrets that I learned a long time ago is that you triple dial it. And what that means is that you punch the numbers, you call the number. I always let it ring a couple of times. It's like ring, ring, ring. I let it ring maybe 2 or 3 times, and I instantly hang up. I don't even give the client an opportunity to answer. Okay. I call back. I do the same thing. I let it ring maybe 2 times. I hang up. I pause for a couple seconds, and I call back. This time I let it ring and just either ring until they pick up or ring until it goes to voicemail. And if it goes to voicemail, I don't leave a voice message. I find that you'll have better success by calling, triple dialing the number 3 times, not leaving a voicemail. I'll have more people call me back wondering who called them. Oh, wow, I missed, either one, they were screening their calls, right, Jimmy?
Yep.
And they don't recognize the number, so they don't pick up, or they just weren't available. And then they're going back, oh, it looks like I missed a call. Wait a minute, this person called me 3 times. Let me see who it is. Maybe it's an emergency. Maybe my kid lost their phone. They had to borrow somebody's phone, or whatever the case is. In my years of experience, because I do get, and here's another thing, I do get agents that ask me all the time, do you leave voicemails? Okay. I guess, if you've called a million times and they're not answering, the triple dialing's not working, you've called them, 100 times, they never pick up. I guess at the end of the day, what's the harm in leaving a voicemail? There's probably no harm. They're not picking up the phone anyway. But from my experience, they're not going to call you back anyway. So I've tried a million different techniques on voicemails. In my opinion, and Jimmy, I'd like to hear your opinion, I think you'll get somebody, they're more likely to call you back if you don't leave a voicemail. They just see that, oh man, this person tried me called me 10 times today. I got to figure out who it is. So I'd like to maybe hear a little bit of feedback. What's been your experience on calling, Jimmy, and what's your opinion on voicemail as well?
Well, Joe, on a new lead, I'm with you. Do not leave voicemails. You're going to have a higher percentage of people returning your calls out of curiosity than you are if you left a message.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a lead that, let's say you've tried numerous attempts to contact them over, let's say, a longer period of time, at that point, might as well just leave a message. You never know.
Nothing to lose at that point, right?
But the other thing that we didn't talk about here is that what I do is that after 2 or 3 attempts of trying to reach somebody, they don't respond. I send them a text and I take a picture of the lead card and I send them a picture of that and just say, hey, I was calling because you had requested this information and I just wanted to set up a time to stop by and deliver the information you requested. Give me a call. My name is. And I get a lot more response from people responding to those texts than anything else. You know, if they don't answer their phone. So
That is an awesome tip. My question though is with the texting, do you how many times do you attempt to reach the client before you send a text?
probably, you know, at least a week, at least 3-4 attempts, you know, by
Okay.
phone without leaving a message. And also I've tried door knocking them too. So I mean, I'm going to say if you can't get them on the phone, go door knock them. If you can't get them that way, then shoot them the text.
Yeah, you better be door knocking your leads. I mean, we're not going to get into door knocking, but so the point, I guess the thing about it is the point is that if you get a brand new lead, it's a fresh lead. Let's say you call them, you triple dial them, you don't reach them. I just want to get this point across. You're not immediately texting them until you've tried them multiple times, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right. In continuation with talking about how many times should you dial your leads, man, I mean, I never stop prospecting or, you know, I mean, you know, if I get a fresh lead and, you know, if it's an older lead, I'm not going to really worry about it. You know, if it's a lead I only spent $1 on, or, you know, if it's a, you know, 50-cent lead and, you know, I'm pounding the phones and, you know, at some point I'm going to kind of give up on that lead. If it's a fresh lead and I paid big money for that lead, I mean, that's going to be on my priority call list and door knock list. So as far as a new lead, man, I would keep that in my rotation for a long time before I just gave up on it. I'm going to make sure, you know, I exhausted that lead. I dialed it multiple times. I mean, there's sometimes leads, I look at the records and, man, maybe I called that lead, you know, 50 or 60 times over, you know, a certain period of time, and I've door knocked it. So I really want to make sure I exhaust it. And even before I disposition a lead, if it's a lead that is a fresh lead, whether it's direct mail, telemarketing, whatever, and I can't get it resolved, I'll just put it back in my rotation and I'll keep hitting it, you know, for several months before I kind of give up on it. Okay, so the next question that I had earlier this week, had a couple of agents. One agent in particular was asking me about appointment setters. You know, hey, you know, should I get an appointment setter? Well, I'm going to give you Jimmy and I are going to give you some really good tips on appointment setters. First thing I'm going to tell you is that appointment setters can be great. They can also be horrible as well. So I'm not the biggest fan of appointment setters, but I mean, I used them in the past. I'm just going to give you my take and some input on appointment setters. The first tip I'm going to give you is that if you're a brand new agent, you're just getting started and you're purchasing leads, do not hire an appointment setter. You should be doing all the appointment setting yourself. Hire yourself as an appointment setter, okay? You shouldn't turn the responsibility of prospecting over to an agency or someone that you don't know, that to me, it just doesn't make fiscal sense or fiscal responsibility to turn your prospecting duties over to an appointment setter. So I'm a big fan. If you're new, man, you do the dials yourself. Now, there's always exceptions. Okay, maybe you're doing it part-time, you got a full-time job, you just don't have time to prospect. If you've got the extra money to hire an appointment setter, go ahead and hire one. Okay. The other thing too is that maybe there's a really bad language barrier. Maybe your English isn't so good, and you're trying to call leads, but because of your accent or your dialect or whatever, people are just hanging up on you because they think you're a telemarketer. Okay, I could see, you know what, that makes sense as far as hiring an appointment setter. At the end of the day, you really shouldn't be hiring necessarily an appointment setter until you get to the point where you're so busy that you just can't handle, and you got so many leads coming in, you just can't do it all yourself. Okay. The other mistake that I see, Jimmy, that agents make, and this kills me, is that they'll buy fresh leads. They're working their business, and they have an appointment setter. Things are going good, and they get fresh leads, and they give their appointment setter all of their fresh leads. Okay, now that, I guess, to someone who's new, that's kind of makes sense, right? Why wouldn't you give your appointment setter the freshest leads? Well, I think about it a little bit different. Like, I think of it as like, wait a minute, why should I give my appointment setter the fresh leads? Those are the ones I'm going to work first. So the way I always do it, when I get fresh leads in, I don't care if it's, telemarketed leads, internet leads, or direct mail leads, I want the first crack at them, okay? Because those are going to be the lay down. So I'm gonna at least call through all my leads 2 or 3 times, doing dial sessions, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to door knock all the fresh leads, and I'm going to leave delivery notices. Okay, so as an example, let's say I got 30 leads a week coming in. Okay, so I get my fresh batch of 30 leads. I'm going to work all those leads, try to resolve and sell as many of the fresh leads I can, so I don't have to pay an appointment setter. And let's say whatever I don't get resolved, then I'm going to give those leads to my appointment setter. Now, in my appointment setter eyes, they're always getting fresh leads, okay? Because it's if I'm ordering 30, maybe I only disposition 15 of them as an example, okay? Or resolve 15, maybe I only resolve 10. So I always want my appointment setter under the impression or the feeling that I'm getting them fresh leads. The other thing is that I'm not going to tell my appointment setter what I'm doing, okay? I'm not going to tell my appointment setter, listen, I'm working all the fresh leads. I'm going to work through them. I'm going to give you everybody I didn't get a hold of. In their eyes, they're only getting fresh leads, okay? So I'm calling through those leads. I'm giving those leads to my appointment setter. And a lot of times, a fresh set of eyes, and, calling from a different number, a lot of times your appointment setter may be able to get a hold of people and book appointments for you that you were never able to get a hold of. The other tip I'm going to give you on appointment setting is that I wouldn't go through an agency. Okay, there's a different appointment setting, agencies. If I were you, I would find my own appointment setter. I would hire somebody myself, whether it's a friend of the family, somebody ideally, where I've had good luck with is if you can find somebody that's like an older person that's retired or semi-retired. That's, the thing about it is, what you got to realize, if you're hiring an appointment setter, this is, you're not going to have enough leads for this to be a full-time job for them to work 40 hours a week. Does that make sense? So ideally, you're only looking for somebody that wants to work like, maybe 10 hours, 10, 15 hours a week. So finding that person that is my ideal appointment setter would be like a retired school teacher or a librarian or, some nice little old lady named Mildred that's going to make your phone call. She's really going to connect and, be able to connect with the senior market. They're not going to think she's a telemarketer. Also, you got to make sure that you micromanage the process, and if you hire a telemarketer or a appointment setter, make sure you train that person properly. I have found appointment setters through referrals. Find out who's looking for extra work. You can try running an ad on Craigslist. That's one. There's another website that I saw. I think I wrote it down. Give me a second. Oh yeah, it's called Upwork. It's upwork.com, and that's a website out there for freelancers and people that are looking for, work from home type of opportunities. I've never hired anybody from Upwork. It's just a website that somebody else said that they were using that worked pretty good. So Jimmy, I'll turn it over to you for any tips that you may have as far as appointment setters, or what your opinion is on maybe, a tip on hiring a good appointment setter.
Well, Joe, for a while, I used appointment setters for probably a good 2 years, and I went through different ones. And so here's what I can tell you about appointment setters. You're not, unless you're really lucky, you're probably not going to find one that's going to last. It's just something about the nature of that business that they get burned out. So, you start with one appointment setter and they usually do really good at first, and then the production just kind of gradually fades out. And
Yeah.
so because it's your business, you need them to be on point. So I guess you can say about every 60 to 90 days, you just got to change it up. Like, I'm not saying that it has to be 60 to 90 days. I'm saying when you see that the level of appointments that they are setting are dropping, pretty significantly, it's time to hire a new one. And that typically is every 2 to 3 months, right? So
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Don't be afraid to change. There have been sometimes I actually had two appointment setters calling on the same leads, where I had an appointment setter and I noticed the fade, and then, the leads that she wasn't resolving, I was giving to another appointment setter, and then she was booking appointments off of the leads that the one appointment setter said that no one was answering the phone. So these appointment setters, and they're working from home, and they get burned out really, really quick. So, don't be afraid to change over. The appointment setters that you've worked with in the past, where did you have the best luck as far as finding them?
Online. I mean, I never hired somebody to train them. I just didn't have that time. I figured if I was going to do all of that, I'd just call them myself.
Yeah. Where did Rosetta, where did she come from?
That was a referral from Richard.
That was from Richard, right? They were friends, right?
That was actually his appointment setter, and then she did a pretty good job for Richard for a while, and then I used her for a little bit. But yeah, she was kind of like an exception to the rule. But Richard's the one who trained her. I didn't train her.
Got it.
I'm going to say some other things about appointment setting. So, like, to keep your appointment setters motivated and also to keep them honest, right? So, like, I would say when you're talking to appointment setters and you're negotiating price, they almost always want per appointment that they make a fee, regardless if the appointment sticks or not. And that don't work for me, because that makes it easy for them to cheat and throw a few on there that really wasn't gonna stick, right? So that just wastes not only your time, but waste your money, right? So my thing with appointment setters is I agreed to pay them more per appointment if it's stuck. So if I didn't get a sit, maybe they cancel, they're a no-show, I would text them immediately and let them know, hey, Mrs. So-and-so is not here. You need to get them back on my schedule. And then that way and then they're keeping you honest because they're going to try to contact that person to get them back on the books.
Yep.
It would be awkward if they call Mrs. Smith and they say, oh, well, yeah, I did meet with them, right? So then they would know that you're lying, right? So it's a two-way street to keep everybody honest. But then the other thing I would do is that I would incentivize the appointment setter. So for so many appointments a week, they would get a bonus. And I would give them a bonus for every sell I made too. So, even though that the sell was on me, by doing that, it kind of really pushes them to make sure that they're doing a good job because they want that bonus money. So when they're setting the appointment, they're doing the very best to put you in front of a buyer. I don't know if that makes sense or not. So I'm telling you, if you pay $25 for an appointment and then you give them an extra $5, per sit because they hit their numbers, and then maybe you gave them another $50 per sell, then now they're making $200 or $300 a week off of your leads. Well, that's what you want, because that means that if you're able to bonus them and incentivize them like that, that means you're making enough sales where you're making, 8, 9, 10 grand a week. Who cares about $300?
Exactly.
And that's the way you got to look at it. If you look at it like, hey, there's enough here for everybody to make money and everybody to be happy, then you're going to be successful. And that's just my thing right there.
Awesome. Very, very, very good tip. All right, guys, we got about a half an hour left on the call. I had one other thing just real quick, and I want to get Willie and Tommy on. But lately there seems to be some type of resurgence, or a lot of agents seem to be really interested in agency building and hiring and recruiting other agents, which is great. Senior Solutions is our fundamental is sales first, recruit later. We're not a multi-level marketing deal. I mean, here, if you want to just come in and sell, and you want to be able to get to a 120 or even 130% contract and never hire anybody, there's an opportunity to do that here through our promotions guideline. But if you're more inclined to maybe do both, you want to sell, but also you see the future and you want to be able to have your own agency and have that residual type of income from override income. I think that's great, and I respect that. I want to help you as much as I can. There were just some questions that came up this week with a couple of agents. I just want to hit on a few points, especially if you're considering hiring. I don't want to drill on this too much, but just a couple of things, a couple of tips I want to bring up. One is hiring new. I'm going to give you some people to stay away from. One is that I would stay away from agents. I would not hire anybody that is coming from another agency or another carriers, and they already have negative debt. They have chargebacks with another carrier. They have vectors, or they just have horrible credit. Those are people typically you want to stay away from. It just reeks of bad character right from the start. The other thing too is that thing that really turns me off is that when I'm talking to a new agent, interviewing a new agent, deciding if they're going to be a good fit for Senior Solutions, if they have nothing but bad things to say about their old IMO, their old manager, they sucked, and they just sound negative and nothing good to say. Honestly, those are people I probably don't want in our agency, because it sounds like they're just unhappy, and they're probably going to end up leaving here, and they're going to badmouth me and badmouth Senior Solutions. You're better off just staying away, okay? Don't be so eager to hire people. Make the point of entry a little bit tougher, I guess. Raise your standards. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago too. Stay away from agents that need constant hand holding, like they can't figure anything out. Okay, those are people that'll just drive you crazy. I'm just take my word on that one. The other yeah, the other thing too is that there's, I guess, a balance between, Joe, do I want to hire agents with a lot of experience or hire new people? Well, there's pros and cons to both, but what I can tell you, the people that have turned out to be the best producers with senior solutions, quite honestly, are the people that came in that had very little insurance experience, but they were great salespeople. They were good salespeople, had a lot of experience in other fields. Like, take Jimmy as an example. Before he got into insurance, tons of sales experience. Myself, tons of sales experience. I was new to insurance. Hiring the old timer insurance guy with a lot of experience, yeah, it's kind of easier because you don't really have to train them that much. But at the end of the day, the new people are maybe going to be a little bit more work, but long term, you may end up getting better results with the new people because you're going to train them from scratch. You're going to train them the way they should be trained, and they're kind of building that sense of loyalty to you because you're the one that brought them into the business. You're the one that trained them. The other thing I'll tell you is I've never really had good luck with agents that are like anti-lead or anti-marketing investment. They just don't want to invest in their business. Okay. To me, those people typically, I really can't think of any examples of agents that have really worked out that were, strictly gonna self-generate leads and do it on their own. That usually doesn't work out. The other thing too, as a hiring manager, man, you've got to be willing to put yourself out there and be willing to take responsibility of hiring and training your people, making sure that there's constant communication. I know I've been guilty of this before too, where, we'll hire new people and, maybe a week goes by. I don't call that agent doesn't call me. I don't call them. Sometimes as agency managers, we just got to lower our ego a little bit and just say, hey, you know what? This is a brand new person. It's my responsibility to reach out, make sure, because you gotta think to the agent's point of view. It's like, hey, I'm brand new to this agency, and Joe never reaches out to see how I'm doing. So there's got to be a little bit of a give and take, I guess. So just make sure that you're always reaching out to your new people, giving them the guidance. The one people that you'll find out very quickly, if you're always engaging, but that new agent never, like, you send them an email, you send them a text, they never engage back, those people you probably just want to stay away from and just, cancel their contracts out. And one of the last things I want to say too is when hiring a new person, is that only trust action, only trust motion. So, everyone's going to talk a big game and tell you how awesome they are. And man, I was great at my last job and this, that, the other. Only try, if they're not licensed, man, if they don't purchase that course right away and get on it, they're not going to work out. Once they get their license, if they come on board and they're not going through the sales training and they're not purchasing leads and you can't get them out into the field in the first week or so, man, that person's probably not going to work out. So you got to look for people that are taking action very, very quickly. Okay. And that's Jimmy, that's kind of a segue into what kind of prompted this call on success stories, because I want to get Willie on, I want to get Tommy on to wrap this call up, because I've been very, very impressed with Tommy. He's a newly licensed guy. Willie, I want to get you unmuted. I don't want to steal all the thunder. So I want you guys to get unmuted. See, Willie, I see you're there. Get Tommy unmuted. So Willie, are you there?
Yeah, Joe.
Hi, buddy. Well, let me do this. Let me kind of turn the call over to you, and you just kind of walk me through, introduce us to Tommy a little bit. I want to get Tommy on. We want to hear about his success. One of the things that's impressed me with Tommy is how quickly from getting contracted to actually like getting out in the field, getting leads, actually writing business.
Absolutely, Joe. Look, I've known Tommy for quite some time, and he actually reached out to me at one point about getting into the business, and we had a good conversation. We talked, we met, and out of the gate, I mean, he's serious about the business. He said, "Hey, this is really what I want to do. I'm going on a full-time basis. I've worked for a different industry, and I really want to do my own thing." So after talking to him, I reached out to you, Joe, and I said, "Hey, we got to get Tommy contracted. I mean, he's serious about the business." We actually did a ride along before he was even contracted with us. So he was exposed to doing a few sit downs and door knocks, and he really enjoyed it. I saw that he was excited about the business. So immediately on the same day, he was in the process of getting his license, I believe, when we did the ride along. But he immediately got licensed. As soon as he got licensed, he purchased his errors and emissions insurance. He did all his AML training, and we submitted contracting for Tommy right on the spot with several carriers.
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted to say about that is you and Jimmy are spot on, Joe.
On it.
If you get somebody that's interested in getting into the business, and the faster they move and take action, the more success you're going to see from that agent onboarding and writing business.
Hey, just real quick. Hey, Tommy, can you, let me see. I might have accidentally unmuted you. Let me see. Tommy, do me a favor, unmute your line.
Hey, Joe, can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, buddy. Hey, Tommy, do me a favor. Just really quickly introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, a little bit about you, and where you're from, where you reside in the country.
Great, Joe. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Joe, and Willie, to bring me on. A little bit about myself. My name's Tommy Gao. I'm located in the South Florida area. I was in the restaurant industry for the past 20 years. I started as a server. I moved down a little by little and ended as the general manager of a Michelin star restaurant. I loved the restaurant business, but I was burned out. Because of the things that happened in the last couple of years, I was ready for some change in my life. Actually, a friend of my wife had great success in the life insurance business, introduced me to the business. I was very interested. After I got my license a couple weeks ago, I started with him. He was at a multi-level marketing agency. After a couple weeks, I felt that type of agency wasn't for me. Then I reached out to my high school friend, Willie, that I'd known for over 20 years. He introduced me to a Senior Solutions, and he explained to me very well about the company, and I did a ride along with him. After the ride along, I thought about it for a few days. I decided to go full time with Senior Solution. After I joined, I met Joe, and he helped me out tremendously, and setting up materials and training for the new business. He went above and beyond to help me. Also, my partner Willie told me all the tips and tricks about how to call clients, set up appointments, how to door knock and speak to potential clients. Also, he provided me a lot of leads to work on for the training progress. I've been watching a lot of videos from Joe, a lot of YouTube videos, and also a lot of joining a lot of webinars, and they helped me out tremendously. I started about 8 days ago, and I already have I already submitted 4 business. So that's been really good. I think I'm really lucky because of that. I just want to say thank you to Joe, Jimmy, and Willie for the excellent training that you guys provided. And I'm very happy to be a part of Senior Solutions.
Awesome, buddy. Well, we're glad to have you on board, man. I mean, one of the things that, like I said, that I've really been impressed with is that from start to finish, from a new guy that, because before you got here, I know you were with that other agency for a little bit. Did you make any sales with them?
No, I didn't make any sales with them.
Okay, all right. So you're brand new to the industry. You come on board. What impressed me and what I was talking about earlier is that, man, you're looking for the guy or the person that takes immediate action. They do everything they're supposed to do. They get contracted right away. They get their, if they need E&O, they get their E&O. They go through the training. They don't hesitate, and that's what impressed me about you is that how quickly you went from just getting started, not knowing anything about anything, and I mean, just getting out there and actually door knocking. So, my question, Tommy, as far as lead, I know Willie gave you free leads. I believe you also purchased some leads on your own as well, correct?
Yes, I did purchase some leads.
Okay, so here's my question about leads. What method of prospecting are you doing? Are you calling your leads to book appointments? Are you door knocking? How are you making these sales that you're making?
In the beginning, I was making some calls here and there. I call all the leads that Billy provided me. But most of the people, these days, they think you're like a telemarketer. They don't want to speak with you. Out of about 80% didn't even pick up the phone. Other
Sure.
20%, they're thinking that you're like a telemarketer or you try to sell them something, or they just didn't really, pay too much attention to you. So for me, I always worked in the restaurant business, and we always try to make sales to face-to-face, sitting down customers. So I was more comfortable with talking to people face-to-face. So this is the reason why I really like door knocking.
Got it. Okay, so have you gotten away from, are you not making any phone calls then? You're strictly 100% door knocking?
Yes, right now I'm strictly 100% door knocking.
Dude, I think that's awesome, man. I'm telling you, man, I mean, I'm not opposed to calling. I mean, that's good, but you can do very, very well just strictly door knocking. And those, are you leaving delivery notices?
Yes, actually, I have
Are you
to go
getting any
to
callbacks?
one of the callbacks today. And one of the business I submitted was actually from a delivery notice. She was at the doctor's office. She wasn't available. She saw my notice, and I was in the neighborhood at that time. So I came back a few hours later, and I started wrote a business with her.
Awesome, dude. Okay, awesome. And what kind of leads are you working?
Right now, I'm just working on final expense leads at the moment.
But yeah, so I know they're final expense leads, but are they direct mail? Are they digital leads? What kind of leads are they?
The leads.
Digital leads. Okay. And the ones that that you got from Willie, were those digital leads as well, or were they direct mail?
Digital leads as well.
Okay, so far, all the sales that you've made, and I know you had a couple of referrals, but the sales that you're making are off of like the $4 or $5 digital leads?
Yeah, the $4 digital leads.
Got it. Okay. All right. Very, very, very good. And so guys, the point is, you got a brand new guy just getting started. He's already investing in leads. I know we talked about, doing some direct mail as well. I know you're going to get there. But having success with the digital leads and not calling them to book appointments, but actually physically going out to your door knocking them. And that's what, when those digital leads came out, that's one of the things that Jimmy and I, really were talking about is that, man, if you really want to have success with these digital leads, you don't have to print them. Actually go to your house. So Tommy, I am so curious, is that when you door knock the lead, I'm assuming you're printing out the lead so you have all their information, correct?
Yes, I printed out the leads and I, explained to them, hey, sorry that I come on unannounced. I'm working in this area. I'm a field agent. I just want to make sure that you get this information that you asked for. I'm a field underwriter. Things like that.
Okay, and are you handing them the lead card so they can see the information on it?
Yes, I kind of read it through with them. We'll confirm their first name, last name, their date of birth, their beneficiary, the coverage amount, and the time that they actually ask for the information.
Okay, all right. So here's what I want. And these leads that you're working are probably somewhere between 20 to 30, maybe a month old. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, about a month old.
Okay, so
some are a little bit older, some are a little bit younger.
Okay, so I know you just started, and I know you don't have that many leads, but I just want your honest opinion on when you actually reach somebody and you door knock them and you show them the lead, like what percentage of people like immediately say, yeah, I definitely remember doing that, as opposed to the people that say, well, I don't remember requesting any information. I'm just curious as far as, how many people are telling you like we never filled it out or they don't remember doing
Most of the people will start. I ask them, hey, is this Carlos? Yeah, this is Carlos. And I tell them their last name, and I'm telling them about the lead first, and they're like, no, we never fill anything up. As soon as I show them the paperwork, they were like, and I mentioned their date of birth, their beneficiary's name, their coverage. Oh yes, I definitely remember. I did that a couple months ago. There's only a couple of cases I didn't remember. Oh no, I never filled this out. Like, so I told them maybe one of your loved ones or one of your children might fill it up for you. So I'll say about 80% will remember that they filled it up.
Okay, very good numbers. That's about what I expected. The thing about it is working these digital leads is, guys, is that if you are only going to try to call and you're not going to door knock like Tommy, you're probably going to get 50% of the people telling you they never filled anything out. Okay. They're just not going to remember it. But when you actually come to their house, first of all, telemarketers don't door knock. So you're already separating yourself from the telemarketer by actually going out and door knocking. And when you fill in that card, you print it out, the amount that it's kind of like it's going to jog their memory, and they're more likely going to remember that they actually filled that card out. Hey, Jimmy, if you're still on, I wonder if you had any questions for Tommy or any comments.
Hey, great job, guys. I love the situation. Get out there. And that's really the secret. Get out there and do it. So, kudos to you. I hope that you guys continue to have some good sales and, make good money for your family. It's a great business to be in. So, way to go. Good job, Willie, on bringing Tommy on board.
Yeah, one of the funny things is that listening to Willie talking about getting Tommy in the car before he was even licensed or on board, I couldn't help but have flashbacks of you and Richard,
Yeah.
of, you bringing Richard on and taking him out on sales calls. And then like a week later, he was licensed. He's like, oh man, this looks too easy. I gotta go get my license. And obviously the success that he had was tremendous. But very, very good. Willie, anything else you want to add, or any other comments before we wrap up the call?
Not much, Joe. Just thanks for all the help on bringing them on board as easy as possible, and I'm happy to be in business with Tommy. He's gonna do great in the business. He's gonna do good in the agency as well.
Yeah, me too, Tommy. It's certainly it's a pleasure to have someone on like yourself who's a true professional. And I don't think we mentioned it too, but not only is Tommy's doing this full time, but he also brought his wife on as well. His wife is a real estate professional with a real estate license, does that full time. She's also got her insurance license as well. We've got her contracted. So she's going to be out there supplementing her income, her real estate income, by making additional sales and being able to go and offer mortgage protection and other products to her real estate clients as well. So Willie, great job, man. Keep up the great work. Tommy, it's great to have you on board, man. Continued success. I feel really great and really good about your future here with Senior Solutions. We want to provide you all the training and support that you need to make sure that you achieve at the highest levels possible. So everybody, have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in to the call. And if you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. You've got my cell phone number. Just give me a call. Have a great weekend. God bless. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Ricky. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, man. All right, Willie. Take care, buddy.
Bye, guys.
Bye, buddy. Thanks, Willie. All right, bye-bye.